All right. I feel like this would be a lot easier if I had like someone help me out here. We got about a minute. About a minute. I'm gonna let people get in here, I guess, before I start yapping about God knows what. And if you're in here, say hey. Let me know you're here. Tell me where you're from. This delay seems long today. I don't know what's going on. Guess I don't need to stream myself. Whatever. All right. What's going on, whoever's in here? Live stream number 2. Notification gang. What? What does that mean? Did you get you got notified for the live stream, I guess is what that means? That's what's up. That is what's up. I guess we'll give, I mean, it's only 1 o'clock, so we'll give a few minutes for people to either come in and get bored immediately and leave, or come in and hang out for a little bit. What's up, Coda? How was your nap? Oh, bless you. What's happening, dude? My dog just woke up. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, my dog just woke up. Coda, do you want to say hey? You want to say hey? Probably not. Nope, he's leaving. Sorry, guys. Thought he was going to do a little cameo, but that's not the case. Who else is in here? I can see 2 concurrent viewers. If this data is accurate. Who else is in here? When you upload, I get notified. Nice. Means you turn on the bell, I guess. Right? Isn't that what every YouTuber says? Hit that bell to get notified. Yeah. I never remember to do that. I also think it's like, you guys would find it annoying. If I did the YouTube thing. Smash that like button. God. I think I'm too old to be saying shit like that. Hey, long dancer. Fuck yeah. What's your real name, long dancer? I feel like I can't call you long dancer. That's just sounds like a code name for, like, I don't know, a narc or something. Glad you're here, dude. Or gal. Dudette. You can never tell with the names, man. I don't know if it's like, is it like Reddit where they just kind of give you a name and then you just roll with it, or you determine what your name is? What do you guys want to chat about today? Are we chatting color? Are we chatting other bullshit? What's on the menu? Name is Carl. What's up, Carl? Matt. Matt, meet Carl. Carl, Matt. Nice to meet you, Carl. Where are you from? Where do you hail from? I feel like this is the UK. Are you in the UK by chance? Somebody left me a I can't remember now. My brain is scrambled eggs from 15 years of ice hockey and then another 20 of UK. Another 20 of partying way too hard. Yeah, what's up, dude? Does this time work for you guys over there in the UK? Somebody in Australia asked me to move it to I think 2 p.m. because then it's 5 a.m. there. I don't know who would get up at 5 a.m. to listen to me yap about God knows what, but let me know if 1 o'clock, what is that? Well, I guess it depends on where you are in the UK, I guess. I don't know where the time zones split. If they do. It's just a humble colorist, man. I have a couple of questions. I want to learn to develop a creative look systematically to create my own LUT. I have a couple questions. I want to learn to develop a creative look systematically. Okay. Well, LUT creation, I mean, DaVinci makes it pretty easy. I think you'd need to research what information can transfer to a LUT and what can't. So if you have, say you've dialed in some, like, I don't know, a curve, you got some contrast, like a contrast curve in there, you got a saturation, maybe you've messed with like specific hues and changed the color of them, so like maybe like red is a little bit more orange or yellow is a little bit more orange, and then you try to put like an effect on there, like scatter, for example. That's not going to translate to your LUT whatsoever, so you're not going to get that diffusion part of that translating, but you will get everything else. There's plenty of good resources on how to make LUTs, and then after that it's pretty easy. You just kind of like right click your frame, export LUT, you save it as a cube file, but it can get pretty specific in the actual creation of them. You have to test the ever living shit out of them, or at least you should if you're going to sell them, because bad LUTs break images, and you don't want to be doing that if you're going to be selling a product. And trust me, there are plenty out there that break the ever living shit out of images. So you have to get some test charts, like some legitimate test charts, so you can see what exactly is happening and where that image might break underneath your LUT. But there's more to it. I mean, I can't like go through the entire process in a chat, but there's more to it than that. But you can certainly develop your own. I've developed, I don't even know how many, dozens. So I'm sorry that's not like extremely thorough, but there's plenty of resources out there on the internet to help you learn that for sure. 6 p.m. and happy to be here. Hell yeah, Carl. 6 p.m. That's nice, dude. So you're done for the day. Cracked a beer, or maybe you didn't. If you don't drink, whatever. Coffee then. That's awesome. 6 p.m. I wish it was 6 p.m. I got a hell of a day. Carl, how did you make the transition from DP to colorist? Yeah, so I was a DP for years. I shot for 11 or 12 years, and I was traveling all over the place, and back and forth to LA, Atlanta, New York, kind of all like the popular spots for shooting, and it just took me away from home way too much, and I ended up missing a lot of life events that I'm not going to get back. And I had done color in between shooting, because even though I was gone like 220 or 240 days a year, you end up spending a lot of time by yourself. And I don't know, I kind of took to color. I guess being a DP, you always kind of like mess with your images afterwards. So I used color as kind of like another revenue stream in between shoot days, so to speak. And then, the time it takes to actually get paid for your shoot. So I would do that to kind of even out the ebbs and flows of income. And I've always kind of had an interest in making images. I was a photographer for a short while, and a little Google search, I'm sure, would turn up my photography page on there that I was doing for like, I don't know, like hospitals and stuff. But that was appealing because I didn't need like a grip truck and 50 guys to help me make images. Photography's a little bit easier, but after I got done shooting and it just became too much to keep doing, I was getting a little older. I had a fiance who was not very happy that I wasn't around. I just made the transition to color full time and didn't really look back. I would shoot a few times a year for some directors that I liked. Then, that would be like 5 shoots a year, then 4, then 2, and then none. And now I just do this full time, and I like it way better. But there was no like magic bullet or anything. I just kind of shifted gears, hung a shingle, called it Blue Suede Hues, and did color full time. Let's see. Was it difficult? Yeah, it was very difficult. I mean, well, shooting was difficult because you're never frickin' home. So you don't like hang out with like your friends and family and all that. But hanging it up is hard. I mean, I certainly miss all the guys that I used to work with and the gals that I used to work with, and there's something very familial about being a DP and kind of cruising around and shooting stuff with the people you know and end up getting pretty close with, especially if it's like a longer shoot. It becomes very familial in a way where you're just kind of this band of misfit toys for a certain amount of time, and you're all committed to doing the same creative act to create something, and then all of a sudden it's over and it's done, and it feels like a divorce or a death or something like that. And it's hard. It's hard to go from like, this is the raddest job in the world to like, oh, this is over and now I'm unemployed again. And then I think switching to color full time, it wasn't difficult. It was challenging to find clients because everybody knew me as a cinematographer, and now I think there was some confusion as to why I was moving to color and that kind of thing. So it was challenging in the way that it was like starting over, but you can't stay in one thing for forever. It's okay to be new at something, I think. So, but yeah, I really love it, man. I mean, I built this room out, and I haven't really looked back. So, do you have your own LUTs? Yeah, dozens of them. I don't sell any of them. They are primarily LUTs that I've designed for commercials or movies or just for fun. Sometimes I'll just get an idea in the middle of the night and come down and start tinkering with shit because I got a crazy brain, and if I start thinking about stuff at night, my brain won't let me go back to sleep until I've like executed whatever thought it was, and so sleep can be kind of tough sometimes. But I have tons of them, but I don't sell any of them. I haven't like. I think there's a responsibility to stress test them before you release them out into the world. And quite honestly, there's so many goddamn LUTs out there that I don't like. Who would buy mine? You know what I mean? They're not too much different than what's out there because the looks that I've done are all kind of desirable by a large swath of clients or potential collaborators or whatever. So it's not something that I've ever taken seriously in terms of like creating a product to sell. And I'd rather just focus on doing work and sharing what it's like to be an actual colorist rather than shilling LUTs to a YouTube audience, if that kind of makes sense. The business side of this. What are the steps you made to make a profitable business out of coloring, like promoting yourself? So what did you do? Good question. Good question. It was kind of like starting over. So first of all, I had to get a reel. I had to get a reel ready. So I ended up coloring my own stuff, the stuff that I actually shot myself. And I colored some other stuff. I did a lot of it for free or low budget, just to kind of introduce myself to the production world as no longer DP but colorist. And now it seems pretty common. It seems like a lot of DPs dabble in color. But there's a lot of cold outreach and a lot of conversations and just being like, hey man, like this is what I'm doing now. I really love it. I love diving deep into it. I love working with other DPs. That's kind of like what the coolest part is working with other DPs because I can speak that language. And so it was a lot of outreach via email, Instagram at the time. Still Instagram now, but it's a lot of cold outreach, just like anything else. You got to knock on some doors to let people know what you do and point them to your work, and then just say like, hey, if you're ever in need of color in the future, I'd love to be on your radar. So there's no trick to it either. That's just kind of what I did. And then profitability, I mean, just charge appropriately for your work. If you're brand new, you certainly can't charge like super high rates because you don't have the history, you don't have the experience, but you can build that. And as you build up your history and your experience, and you get a roster of clients, you can start leveling up what you charge. Let's see. What did you JP? It's JP, right? Fluid. I think that's right. JP says, what did you do so others find your work? I'm notoriously terrible at Instagram, but I tried my best. I try my best to get stuff out there. Um, Instagram used to be a really good platform for sharing your work, and now it's just like recycled TikTok. So things have changed. I should move over to TikTok, but I'm old, dude. I'm 44. I can't like just like leap to the next social app and like put all this time into it, especially with weeks like this where it seems like 6 projects all come in at once and they're all due either this Friday or Monday. So I will definitely be working through the weekend, but spending my time making clients happy is far more important than TikTok or Instagram. But I would just share it. I would just like cold outreach. Here's my site. That's why I did the like the stills like this on my site, so that you get a really quick glance of what this shit looks like, and then there's like the work page where you can actually watch it. But producers and directors and stuff, they're busy, so if they just wanted like a little snackable version of what I do, you can check out all the stills. That's constantly updated, and I need to be better at Instagram for sure. But I just stink at it. I really need like a social media manager or something like that, because I don't know what's like. It's like trending topics and music, or trending like trends, I guess, like music and shit. I'm not gonna spend the time doing that. And if you don't, I think your stuff just kind of gets buried. And I'm a 44-year-old colorist. I don't think anybody gives a shit about what I'm putting out. If I was like, some like a younger person doing something cool with like awesome transitions and stuff, maybe that would definitely get more attention than what I would do. But I kind of treat the Instagram thing as like a mobile portfolio. Like, hey, here, check it out. It's a bunch of stills. And then I repost what I can find or track down. It just takes so much time to find this stuff and write captions and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. Since we're on the subject of LUTs, no, this is JP again. Oh no, I'm sorry, Carl. Since we're on the subject of LUTs, any chance of a video on how to make a show LUT? Yeah, I did this like really, really, really simply on a video I did about a feature film I did. I did the color on, called We Need to Talk. I don't have the full film, so I couldn't use like all of the scenes to kind of derive the look. I just did it very, very simply, and it's probably a waste of time, because it's not like the actual process of creating a show LUT, but that's a good idea. I'll do one in the future. I just need like the project that I can show that has like a variety of different like locations, lighting, that kind of thing. And then I can kind of like go through and develop a look. It'd be a long ass video though, that's for sure. So I'd have to think about how to do that to where like people would actually watch me do it. Carl, I've made a few, but they never seem to work on set as they do in Resolve. Yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference between like display LUTs and color grading LUTs. That's a very deep topic of like color math. I can't really get that into that here, but yeah, I'm not surprised that they don't transfer. I think what you could do is just do like export them as 1x1s or whatever the lower. Oh shit! Now I'm forgetting because I haven't done it in forever. It's like the lower cube. Oh my god. I'm having a brain fart, guys. I'm sorry. But like you make the smaller one for displays, and it kind of like limits the information. And like you can load it onto a monitor. So like even on my Flanders, I have like 15 LUTs loaded on there. But there's a way to do it. I just can't get into it right here because I don't remember exactly everything, and I'm not looking at it right now. So I'm sorry about that. D. Morrison, what's up, dog? Hey man, what's your wildest client request that you thought was nuts and ended up working? Wildest client request? Shit. I mean, I've had like crazy client requests. I don't know. They haven't said something that was like, hey, you should try this, and then it works, and I'm like shocked. I'm trying to think. They're usually like completely unreasonable requests. Like, hey, can we change the color of this cream wall? We'd really like it to be this like dark green. No. No, I can't do that. That would be a job for visual effects and rotoscope and all that. But let me think about that. The wildest, my wildest client interactions are usually just like people being rude. I don't have like a top of the dome example of um, a wild client request that ended up working. Because honestly, if like they ask for something and I think it's doesn't work, or it's like I don't personally agree with it, or whatever, and they love it, then they're right, right? So I don't know. They pay, they pick. So I just do what they want. I mean, but they haven't been like, hey, have you tried like doing a window around this one thing and then softening it and adding like the mist? Nah, that's never happened. But the wildest requests tend to be like the most unreasonable ones. Like there's one, well, it's not really a color example, but one client, I'm debating whether to say who it is. I can't say who it is, I guess, in good faith. But we were, it was when I was still shooting. I shot this commercial out in Seattle. It rained for like 3 days. And then the rain let up, and we were shooting this closing shot of this van driving off into the sunset. And when we were in the edit, I was doing the color on it as well. We delivered it out for review, and the 20-somethings marketing professionals decided that the sunset was not the color of the sunset was not on brand with with the company. So like the orange was off or something, and therefore they wanted to axe the shot. Okay, okay. So yeah, I mean you can't really make that stuff up, but I think they axed the shot too, which is absolutely wild, absolutely wild. It's not the color of a sunset not being on brand, like like a what is it, a weather event doesn't align with the brand guidelines of a company. Shocking. But yeah, that's one of my favorite stories because it's just so crazy. Like, what goes through your head to make that note and then say it on a call in front of like 15 other people? Just crazy. The things to consider. The things to consider. I think this is back to like the LUT question. Um, yeah, again, I'm sorry, dude. It's a really dense topic, the LUT stuff. Um, but I think you one major thing to consider is like you want it to be able to work on a variety of different cameras, camera systems. There's like, you got to make versions of these things, like for the Alexa, for Reds, for the different, sometimes in different sensors within the camera family. So like Alexa LF, Amira, Alexa Super 35, like they're all a little bit different. If you can get like very specific like that. Red, now the Sony Venice, like they all record things differently. So like a LUT is not going to work universally across all camera systems and all images. And then you add different scenes, lighting conditions, exposure, contrast ratios, etc. That's why like when you make a show LUT, you shoot a whole bunch of like test footage, design the LUT, and then you go shoot under it all like during the show. I'm losing this is partially because I can't see. I can't see because I'm getting old. Let's see. Mateo. Hey, what's up, Mateo? What's your color management workflow and what's your go-to DRT? Color management workflow is pretty standard. I don't do it at the system level. I do it, the node sandwich thing. So IDT, ODT, everything in between. My go-to DRT, it depends. I mean, 8 times out of 10, I'm just using the standard CSTs in Resolve because they tend to be pretty forgiving and they don't introduce like density and that kind of shit. So when we're doing commercials and that kind of thing, where brand colors are very specific, I wouldn't necessarily reach for the JP 2499, because or OpenDRT, because they both kind of influence or sway colors, and I know that you can manipulate that in the UI. But if I need a clean starting place, which is usually the case for the commercial work, because again, we're talking about brand colors, and that stuff needs to be accurate. So the scene might look awesome, but the brand colors might go to shit, and then it's like, now I'm forcing these corrections to the brand colors, and it's underneath this LUT, and then you just like, or I'm sorry, the J, like the JP 2499. You're wrestling with it, and I don't want to be doing that on a commercial where color is of like crazy importance, and especially if like the client's going to be very nitpicky about it. So yeah, but I swing between those three. I like them a lot. I haven't fully utilized the JP 2499 to its full capability, but it's a phenomenal place to start. Sometimes it just snaps skin into a really, really wonderful place at the beginning, and when the project calls for it, then I use that much more. I'll use that much more on like short films and or like cinematic commercials where we're not worried about brand color and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's standard IDT, ODT, and then the DRT variety. D Morrison. Instagram was one of the best. Now I've given up on it. Do you have an SOP for complete projects that you use to make promo content for yourself? No, dude. I have, I kind of just wait until, like, they slap my hand. I just assume that, like, we all know we're not saving lives here, and that these projects are not, of, like, crucial importance to the furthering of humanity. So what I can track down, I put on my site. What I can grab from other people sharing stuff that I worked on online, then I just repost it and that kind of thing. And then I feel like I'm totally free to grab screen grabs or pull stills from projects and use them however I want. I feel like that's totally fair. The only thing that bums me out is usually I can't find everybody that worked on a project, and I know that's kind of like the thing on Instagram is to like tag everybody. I just don't have the time to track everybody down, and like I understand that it's like a community effort, but I'm not shooting it. Nobody gives a shit about me until the very end. And at that point, everybody's on to the next project or the next thing. So, like, it's so hard to track all that stuff down and give credit where credit's due, even though I'd love to. But, like, I'm not on set anymore. I don't talk to these guys anymore. I only can, like, kind of glean what I can get from other posts. So I just try to mention the production company, the DP, producers, that kind of thing. Usually that kind of covers all bases, and I just hope that nobody gets mad that I'm not intentionally leaving anybody out, but I don't know if that answers your question, but I'm trying. I'm right there with you. That's how I use Instagram nowadays. Yeah, man. Instagram is kind of just weird. Long ass video, we'd watch, bro. I don't know. The drop off on my short videos is pretty abrupt at the midway mark, so I don't know how many people would sit through like a 2-hour video or a 3-hour video. I have to like punctuate it with like way more humor than I normally do. But I don't know. I guess yes. One DLUT. Sorry, I just saw that. That's the word I was looking for earlier. The one DLUT for viewing LUTs. I don't even know if that's accurate. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that at all. I feel like I'm remembering. I haven't made a display LUT in a while. But a 2-hour video, I don't know if anybody would watch, dude. I mean, I'll make one eventually, and we'll see what the analytics say on YouTube. I can't imagine that no one's gonna sit down and watch if it's like the Odyssey or Matt's color grading video. I think it's gonna be the Odyssey. Let's see. D Morrison, 1D yes, 1D D Morrison, on brand. Haha, no way. Yeah, I hear you. Carl, I like long form videos. I like getting deep down into the weeds. Yeah, I just run out of shit to say, to be honest. I really do. I mean, I don't. My channel's already very different from everybody else's, which I guess is pretty cool. But like, I literally run out of shit to say. If I'm doing something that's requiring like, 2 minutes of like focus on something, my brain can't separate like work from commentary, so I run out of things to say. So I guess if you're down with silence, or maybe I could fill it with some like cool music or something. But yeah, I'm with you. I like the long videos too. It's just, you gotta understand, like, there's a lot that goes into capturing all of this. So like, both these screens are recorded. My scopes are recorded. The Flanders is recorded. This camera's recorded. That camera's recorded. So it ends up being like a large transfer of footage, and then syncing it and all that shit. I'm not running like tentacles or anything to any of this stuff, and you can't auto sync the screen grabs or the screen capture. So then it's like, going through there. My thing is I constantly go through these videos and I just think like, no one's going to care about this. No one's going to care about that. I just remove these chunks, and I'm just trying to figure out what people like and give them what they want. So a lot of time there's comments like, you should do a video on whatever, look development or whatever, and then I'll do one. And it's just easy if I just get feedback from all you guys about what you want to see. But I mean, I feel like they're all kind of long. I mean, I think they average like 15 minutes or so. So I'm glad you guys aren't sick of me yet. Maybe you will be. I don't know. Maybe when I run out of shit to say like all together, you're gonna be like, this is boring. Unsub. Let's see. Carl, I've noticed that some colorists tend to push their balance node towards the look they are trying to achieve early in the primary phase of the grade. I've noticed that some colorists tend to push their balance node. Do you do this? If so, why? If not, if I'm understanding your question, oh my god, your question. If I'm understanding your question correctly, let's just say we've got a look done at like the timeline level. All right, it's universally affecting our entire grade. If that's the case, and if I haven't balanced anything up to that point, I've gotten it in, it's under a transform, I've got to look at the timeline level or the ass end of the signal chain, and then I go back in, then yeah, anything on the balance at that point will be leaning into the look that we're trying to achieve, because chances are there's discrepancy between the shots and the white balance, the exposure, or whatever. So I would go in and color everything underneath the look itself, which I think is totally fine. But I think it does, if you're earlier on in your career, I would balance everything first. That's what makes you good. That's what develops your eye and your like instinctual reaction to how we're going to balance everything, especially if it's not shot like perfectly. Or poorly. Christ, you'll learn a lot with poorly shot stuff. That is for sure. And I think you should work on that stuff because it does make you good. That's like getting in quality reps at the gym. But yeah, so I would push the balance into the look if that is the look we are definitely trying to achieve. If we're experimenting, then I don't do that shit. I'll keep everything neutral, and then the look is what will be changed out at the timeline level. If we're having a conversation about, do we want this to feel, is this like a softer contrast curve, or are we really going to throw out everything in this image like right down into the toe and be really dark with the whole thing? Are we lifting this whole thing up? Is this a super bright spot? Then that's going to be a little bit more back and forth, and I don't commit to a look without talking to director, DP, whoever I need to be talking to. Let's see. D. Morrison. I like that you use the node sandwich like me. I'm 100% in Aces 2.0 now. Oh, nice. Yeah, JP's in log 2. Transforms. Yeah, Josh Pines is nasty. I stopped liking the DaVinci CSTs. Yeah, I hear you. I have not switched everything over to Aces because I need to get much more experience working within Aces. And yeah, I mean, as I'm sure you know, dude, like time is money. So when these projects come in and I have like 4 hours to do them, I can't be messing around with like a newish or different workflow. But I'm 100% with you. I really do want to start experimenting with that JP Log 2 and the Aces workflows. I think a lot of people, a lot of colorists in my respect, really say good things about that kind of stuff. It's just for for the professional work, I would absolutely do that. For like the YouTube channel, I think I would just stay where I am in terms of like the node sandwich. It seems to be a little bit easier for people to experiment with, understand, and incorporate into their own workflows without committing to like one workflow, so to speak. But again, I don't know. I'm making enormous assumptions. I'm also sitting here 4 times a year looking at Baselight and thinking to myself, should I just switch over? Is that like boss level color grading platform? And I feel like I should learn that, and I really do. But the only thing that's stopping me is it's prohibitively expensive for what I would consider an education experiment. But I don't know, man. Like all these big dogs use Baselite, and I'd love to learn it. And we're going off the rails here, but yeah, Aces. I need to get more time for sure. D. Morrison. Yeah, sometimes it's harder to record everything for the tutorial than it is talking through the tutorial. It's not harder. I like that. The recording part's easy. The hard part is I run out of shit to talk about, and I'm trying to thread this line between like just being a guy, because Darren's doing his thing. He's doing it very well. He's doing like, here's how to use Resolve. Here's why I do this shit. Very pleasant British guy. Fantastic videos. Like that's where I would go if I was just starting. Cullen does the color science thing. He's very proficient with that. That's his style. He's very like kind of textbook in his delivery. Dude, I'm just some guy. You know what I mean? I'm just a guy doing the shit. I love it. I would love other people to get into it in the way that I'm into it. And if I can show what an average everyday guy doing this looks like, then I think that is kind of the direction for this whole YouTube endeavor, for sure. But yeah, it's really like I'm trying to get better with just like the yapping. I'm a pretty quiet guy normally, and it's also there's no one here. You know what I mean? So like I'm looking at this camera, like I used to have a little smiley face above the lens just to have something to talk to. But I mean, I spend a lot of time by myself talking to nobody, so it's getting easier. So I'm hoping these videos are at least somewhat entertaining. I'm trying. I really am. Kind of why I don't do tutorials. Yeah, because you're smart. Why add that to your workload? That's awesome. I have a good video idea. Rate our stills and node tree and show what a pro would do and why. So this came up last live stream, the review thing. And I said last time I don't necessarily want to be the arbiter of like taste, because every client is going to ask you to do something unique in however big of a swing of uniqueness that is. Sometimes it's like, this is the look I've done 100 times. Oh, this is something brand new and insane. I don't follow you, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I would be reacting to my own taste, which is singular, right? And not like a group of different clients that want to achieve different things, you know? Like I certainly have my tastes that I've developed over the years, so it would just be mine. I don't know how valuable that is. But I wouldn't even need to see the node tree unless you had questions. I don't really care. I don't care how you got there. You know, like the old saying is like, if it looks good, it looks good. No one has ever left a theater going like, how they really got to that end result with that node tree was really what made this movie awesome. Like that's never happened. So as long as you're not breaking shit and being careless with highlights or whatever, I don't necessarily care how you got there unless it's completely and wildly incorrect and it's a bad habit. And I don't think you should be doing that going forward. Then I would have an opinion on that, because then I would be able to say like, this is going to completely kind of ruin your day if you do this on a pro job later. But I'm happy to review stills. I've been trying to think of a way to do this to where it like actually makes sense, and I'd have to like level the playing field. So I don't give a shit about the log or raw. I would want to see it under a standard transform into 709 as like image A, and then what you did to it as image B. And I think then at least it's a little bit level playing field, because like we all know what raw and log look like. So like it's not the difference that I'm interested in, it's how manicured the image is that I'd be interested in reviewing. If you guys want to do that, I mean, that's fine. I don't I think I'd need to get a channel a little bit bigger. Like I haven't even hit 1,000 subs yet. But it's definitely on the radar. It's something I'm definitely open to. If you guys would find that valuable, that's awesome. I'm kind of flattered. But yeah, if I can figure out how to do that with stills, that would be probably a good start, and then I'd probably move it to like the full spot or something. And it would all have to be private, because I'm sure you guys are working on like client stuff, and like they don't like their stuff out there. in a way that's like kind of open for, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like it's on the radar for sure. Let me see here. I lost my place already. D. Morrison, yeah, it took a year to transition. Yeah. Oh, yeah. From like the node sandwich to aces. Yeah, the year transition makes sense. Yeah, I would assume a lot of the workflow kind of changes and like even how the knobs behave and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure. Carl, I've generally avoided aces. What would be the advantages of using aces? What does it give us? A DWG doesn't. Deep topic. Very deep topic. I know Colin has a lot of videos on that. I would go to his channel because he can explain it much more clearly than me. At this point, trying to remember the differences and all that kind of stuff off the top of my head. So go check out Colin's channel. Not sponsored. Apart from the bigger color space. Yeah, it's just like it gets way technical. Just go to Colin, start there. I know he's done a bunch of videos on aces, and he was working in aces for a while. Or if you and Morrison, D. Morrison, I forget your first name. Damn it. This is what happens when there's 2 weeks between these chats. But if you guys want to link up, I don't know. Maybe that'd be something that'd be cool. I don't know. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it sounds like Morrison's got some intel or some knowledge on the whole aces pipe. But start with Colin, and then take it from there. Marcus, Film, can you talk about how you collaborate with DPs? Sure. The best ways for them to communicate their vision and intention for the image to you. Do you prefer references, broad language, or specific notes? Yes. I collaborate with DPs depending on how you collaborate. Usually there are conversations leading up to delivering the project to me. So it'd be like, hey, Matt, this is Colin. I just shot this thing. I kind of had this look in mind for it. We got pretty close on set, but I really want to put some polish on this, and I want to come into your room and like dial this in together. Great. At that point, I would ask, do you have any references? Like, what was in your mind when you were shooting? And the same happens with agencies. I'll ask for the pitch deck that they've sent to their client, so I can see what they've sold them. That informs what we're going to do in post, and it will inform insight into like how it was shot. So we'll talk about some references. We'll talk about like, hey, we like this video, we like these stills, we like these colors, we like this density, we like this roll off. And then after that, it's just like anything else. It's just a conversation. If they're in here, what do you think about this? Why don't we dial this back? Why don't we just add a little bit more into the, and it's just a back and forth until we kind of arrive at their look. I'm lucky that I used to be a DP, so I can speak DP language to them, and that levels the playing field a little bit, because when you talk, there's no common vernacular for color, almost none, that's universally understood, right? If it's like open for interpretation, there's an opportunity for misinterpretation. So being able to speak DP to DP really helps. And then if we're doing like a video review where it would just be, I've done this, what do you think? Leave some notes. Then it would just be the same thing, but over the computer, I guess. The best way is for them to communicate their vision and intention for the image to you. A lot of times they'll talk DP speak to me, and sometimes they'll speak like moods or vibes or that kind of thing, and then it becomes like the interpretation thing. So it's not really that much different from an average client. With the difference being that I can speak cinematography to cinematographers. Do you prefer references, broad language, or specific notes? I'll take anything. I love anything you can give me, because what I want to do is give you a great result upon first review. I'm not saying no notes. I'm not saying like a good result. Like, did we achieve what you set out to achieve? And the references and like broad stroke language and even like specific stuff, that helps when it's like, I hate this corner of the frame because we didn't have a flag and no time, can we just drop this down? Like, that's a specific note. Great. Now I know what to do with that corner of the frame. So that's how I typically talk to DPs and collaborate with them. It's very rare that I'm brought in early. Very, very rare. Very rare. But it does happen, and it's cool when it does, because then the whole process is much easier, because now you've had conversations before they shot the thing that inform how they're going to shoot the thing so that they can deliver what they want to deliver after having shot the thing. Especially if you can do like a show lot or something like that. That's when it's really sweet. D. Morrison, Baselite has always been on my radar. Dude, same. But yeah, the price is not beginner friendly. No, I think it's like 60 grand for like the software license and like the slate. I could be wrong, but it's pretty cost prohibitive. I used to aspire to the Pablo. The Pablo, don't date yourself in the chat. Yeah, Light Iron was running it primarily, and now they're on Baselite also. Yeah, dude. The Pablo was the OG, for sure. I've never been on one. Never. I wish I was. One day it will happen. I think so. I think, I think if you stick around this business long enough, it's like anything else. You're going to get bored or, whatever. Try something new. Baselite's pretty sick. D. Morrison, bad habits like just going in with curves on the log image and blasting the LGG with no color management. Yeah. Way back in the day, we used to do that because LUTs and CSTs didn't exist. Yeah. Yeah, guys, the LUT thing is kind of new. In the grand scheme of things, it's kind of new. Like, that was a post house thing, and like nobody else was really using them. That was like a color scientist thing. Oh, Derek is your name. Derek Morrison. I'll do my best to remember that. Biggest thing, not so big anymore, but Aces is also more universal throughout the pipeline. Yes, especially for VFX and that kind of thing. DaVinci Wide Gamut, DI had infiltrated some other apps, but for VFX, but it's not preferred. Aces is easy. Yeah, when you're doing Aces, like visual effects pipelines, that's the way to go. Do not break that for the VFX artists; they'll kill you. Derek says across applications when using Premiere Result. Yeah, Maya, Blender, all that. Bat is at 3%. Gonna bounce. All right, later. I'll catch the replay later. Nice chatting, Matt, once again. Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for stopping in. Carl, have you used the node stacks feature? It looks like an interesting workflow. Might give it a go, although I do tend to like the whole tree in front of me as security. Is the node stack a Resolve 21 thing? If it is, no, I have not used it. I'm kind of a peon when it comes to technology. I don't really use Resolve to its fullest potential. So I have not used the node stack thing. I don't know. It's just like, to me, I don't know. Is it like one more thing to have to remember that you have applied? And then like, I don't know. I'm a simple guy, man. So like things like that just kind of. Oh, it was introduced in 19. Well, there you go. It proves the fact that I'm a simpleton when it comes to this stuff. No, I haven't used it. I'm sorry. ColorCon 9, dope name, ColorCon. Hey, what's happening? Drop a question, drop your location, drop something in here. All my concurrent viewers are dropping like flies here. Maybe this time sucks. I don't know. Does 1 p.m. suck? It basically separates the primary and secondaries. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll have to play with it. I mean, I'm sure there's some other tutorials out there that would be more beneficial. I haven't played with it. I just tend to stick with the stuff that I know that works, that I know how everything's going to behave, and I adopt new workflows or even like small additions to workflows very slowly. So like what version of Resolve am I on? Do I even want to know? Let's see. I am on 20.2.1 build 6. So we're a little bit back there. But again, it's all about like platform stability for me. So no, I haven't used it. I'll play with it, I'm sure, at some point. What do you, ColorCon 9 says, what do you use for film emulation? So before like Filmbox and Dehancer and all that kind of stuff came on the scene, I had a custom node tree built that was primarily built for emulating different films. I didn't like map them. There's guys out there that are just doing insane shit with how they map like 250D and that kind of stuff, and it's all like photometrically accurate. I made one that would kind of sit the colors where they are, but I don't use any of that stuff. I don't use Dehancer. I don't use Film Box. I don't use what's the other one? I can't remember the other one. I was just looking at it. It looks pretty cool. But I don't really use them much in my work, because the most of what I'm doing is commercials, and they don't really that kind of full on film emulation is not suitable for a lot of the commercials that I personally work on. But they are cool. I mean, they are really, really cool for sure, especially the ones that are like photometrically accurate. But for like print, I just use the ones in Resolve. They're good enough for what I'm doing. Thanks for the uploading consistently on YouTube. Thank you for saying that. It is it's hard to keep up with it with work and life and all that kind of stuff. But it's something I really like, so I really want to keep doing it. And thank you for being here. It really does mean a lot, so I appreciate it. Thank you. Genesis, nope. No, I have not used any of Colin's tools. I mean, I've like tested them. They seem pretty dope. I'm sure they're great tools. I don't use a lot of them, so maybe that's a boring answer. I'm really sorry, but I haven't gotten to it, and I will. I keep saying I will in like these other videos and like these live streams. I keep saying I'm going to try this stuff, and then I just don't get to it. I don't get to it. So I'm sorry. I don't have really good answers to some of your questions. That is the hot thing right now, though, the Film M, for sure. For sure, I've seen a lot of videos about that kind of shit. So how about I ask you guys some questions? How about that? Did any of you guys see the 70mm theatrical Odyssey? Anybody? Did anybody see that movie in 70mm IMAX? I'll wait for your answers to come in, because this is on a delay. And I'll answer these questions in the meantime. ColorCon, do you have any plans to get DaVinci Resolve Advanced Panel? Well, again, it's super expensive. It's like 30, I think it's even more than 30 grand now. I could buy one secondhand, but like that thing is going to be like this fucking big on my desk, right? And I don't know if I want all that shit on my desk. It's awesome. You know, like a lot of folks say that once you get on there, you don't go back. But it's cost prohibitive at this point, and like I'm so simple when it comes to this stuff that I don't really love change too much. I know that sounds so lame in this world we live in, where like technology moves a million miles a second, and like all these plugins and custom tools are out there. It's just like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm too simple. I don't know. I mean, the advanced panel would look dope on here for sure, and I think maybe my YouTube videos would look a little bit cooler. But it is egregious to spend that kind of money on buttons, and I can't bring myself to do it. So if I got a good deal, like if they were like a third of the price, dude, no problem. I'd buy that in a second. But a lot of them that you buy secondhand or can find, even if you can find them secondhand, people are selling them for like almost full price, or they're like, 10 grand, but they've been like beaten to shit because like all the post houses use them, so it's just like hammering buttons and keys for 25 years. So I don't know, maybe. I mean, they're super dope. It's super dope product, but I don't have like a plan to buy them. Eugene Neal 9564 says, haha, all good. Just wondering if that was in the film emulation tools you were just talking about. Shit, I don't know what that's in reference to. I'm sorry. Just wondering if that was in the film emulation tools you were just talking about. If what was? I don't remember. ColorCon. No, I assume you mean you haven't seen the Odyssey. Eugenie, haven't seen it yet. Just Dolby. Okay. I saw it, but not IMAX. Yeah, you can't buy the IMAX tickets. It's sold out until like end of its run. Carl, when I first started learning, I grabbed every tool I could find, thinking it would make me better. Now I'm in the process of stripping down my workflow to be less is more. Fucking 100% agree with that. 1000% agree with what you just said. And I think more people need to say that part out loud. Now, I think that's like kind of like the default thing, right? If I have this DCTL, if I have this workflow, if I have this tool, then my shit's gonna be awesome. Dude, the silver bullet with that is beautiful work in and beautiful work out. That is it. That's why pro colorist stuff look so goddamn good. Not that they're unskilled, but the amount of like polish they're putting on an image, like it's all polish at that point, you know? They're not doing like corrections and balancing and all that kind of shit. They're really putting, they're the artisans putting like that 11th, 12th layer of varnish on an otherwise already beautiful image. That is why that shit looks so good. And all the talented people behind the cinematography that brought those images to light, art deck, set deck, costume, wardrobe, all of it. That's why that shit looks awesome. And it's very easy to just go, well, if I have this tool, if I have this DCTL, if I have this fucking power grade, then all of my skill will be unlocked. And that's just totally not true. Not true at all. So everybody else, get that idea out of your head. There's not a tool that's going to make you automatically better. There's going to be tools that help you do what you need to do, right? Like mononodes, for example. Awesome. Helps me every single day. I use it all the time. But there is no magic plug-in or any of that shit. The less is more. Dude, there's absolutely nothing better looking than a simple grade, right? Like, for the most part. When you have shows that are like really long oneers, like Adolescence or something like Euphoria, I know that those are complex grades because of the nature of what was done on those shows, and some of the colors have talked about it. But aside from that, a simple grade will always look better. And it's way faster to do across your whole spot. Oh yeah, crazy movie, that man, that big dude. Yeah, he's actually like 7'11" or something like that. The giant he's talking about in the Odyssey. I haven't seen it yet at all. I want to go see the 70 mil, but it's sold out everywhere except for like the handicap seats, and I'm wondering if I can kind of get one of those seats and go to the theater, and if I have to, like I'll just like stand or something, assuming that like the rest of the handicap seats aren't like taken. This sounds terrible. I'm not trying to be terrible and take someone's seat. Obviously, I would give it up. Don't, you know. Let's see. Carl, haven't seen the film yet. ColorCon. ColorCon 9. How do you approach matching contrast when doing shot matching? How do I approach it? I mean, it's just part of the matching process, I guess. I don't know how to answer that one in like detail that's going to make any sense. I would pick like, see, there's more to it than that, because like if you choose like a wide, that's going to have technically a higher contrast ratio than like a close-up on like an actress's face, right? Because if you shot the wide, if you've put diffusion in front of the glass, then maybe that's one thing. But as you move in for coverage, so to speak, like, you know, your mediums, your MCUs, your close-ups, generally, especially with women, you're softening that light. So you might do like a waterfall of diffusion. If you don't know what that is, it's just like kind of like you might go through like a, you know, like 216 and then, you know, something lighter and then, you know, a half soft frost or something like that. And it just softens and softens and softens the light as you move in, so that women especially look good in close-up. So your brain will forgive, an audience will forgive those contrast discrepancies, but contrast is probably the most important thing in a grade, I would say. So as long as it feels right, I can't tell you like how something should feel, but as long as it feels consistent, then that is probably, like, you're probably in good shape. What you can do is like, you can put a node at the end, at the very, very end of your timeline, and just swing it to like, just drop all the saturation out, just so it's black and white. and then now you can view your whole program or your whole video or whatever just in black and white, and that might inform different like any contrast discrepancies that you might otherwise miss when looking at the color version, because sometimes there's there's obviously there's color contrast as well. So if there's something like it's very orange and blue, for example, or teal and orange, so to speak, you might be misled visually as to how much contrast is actually in that image because you're seeing the luminance contrast, but you're also seeing the color contrast associated with that teal and that orange. So if you drop all the sat out, you might get, you can just kind of like look at that, which is really just the luminance of the image, and that might tell you how you might be off or you might be dead on in like your whole show. But you could try that. That'd be kind of, I mean, I've done it before. When you do this long enough, you stare at a spot long enough, your eyes start lying to you eventually. So it's good to have like some safety checks. Like I used to have my what the hell's it called? My scopes here. I used to have a black and white feed in like the lower corner, so I could just keep an eye on like contrast that way. But eventually, it kind of became unnecessary. But try that. I think that helped me, and has helped me. So give that one a go. What mono nodes do you use? All of them. Almost all of them. Well, most of them. Hue shift and all those. Those are really awesome. ColorCon 9. What is your favorite movie with a grade that you really like? Oh, we went through this last time. Last live stream. I love the look of the show. It's not a movie, it's a show called End of the Fucking World. It is so beautiful. That grade is just unbelievably beautiful. Euphoria looks absolutely insane. Ted Lasso looks insanely good. It just looks so polished and good. But those three shows are all different kind of looks and styles. I'm watching, what's the one about the... Shit, what's it called? Silo. Silo is one of the darkest shows I've seen in a long time. But that looks exceptionally good. I wish I had like an HDR TV that would just like pump out 4,000 nits. I'd love to know what that show looks like in HDR, like a really high quality HDR. But Silo looks exceptional. A lot. I mean, there's so much good work out there that looks so goddamn good. I mean, some of the stuff on YouTube looks insane, but yeah, those shows look particularly good for sure. Carl, I've followed Colin Kelly's channel for a long time now. He's full of fantastic knowledge and useful tips, but I do find occasionally that I tend to rely less on my own instincts. Yeah, you got to develop those instincts. That's the thing. That's the thing, and you can only really do that with time and experience. Um, and I've noticed it even more now as I get a little older with these client notes. They'll say shit like, "I want this shot to feel more magical," and I'm like, I mean that's up for like major interpretation, but um, I know what they mean now. Like I know that I know what I think they're trying to say. And it's only because I've been doing this for so long that I'm able to kind of like lump all the different ways of saying things into kind of one bucket of do this. Um, Especially when notes kind of contradict themselves. Like I'm having a hell of a time on the spot right now, to be honest. And it's because the creative was in one direction, but all the photography, the cinematography was kind of shot in another direction. So like for example, what they want to see is not a lot of contrast, not a lot of mood in this spot right now. And what the footage looks like, it's very, very contrasty the way they shot it. And it's down in exposure. So those two ideas are like diametrically opposed. And I've been going back and forth. We're on like our fifth or sixth version of this spot right now. And like I just totally get in my head about it because I'm just thinking like I'm the shittiest colorist, I think, because I don't know what they are trying to say. I don't understand why they're asking for this when they've seen the material. They know what it looks like. They know how low an exposure it is. They know how like hard light is used in this spot, but they're asking for like soft, like a softer contrast curve. And like yeah, I've just really been having a hard time. And fortunately, we've been going back and forth now, much more dialogue, much more conversation, stills. What do you think about this? Rather than just like frame IO links. And my instincts were kind of correct. It's just so easy to get in your goddamn head about like your own skill set and like your instincts and that kind of thing. So I totally feel you. It happens to me. I mean, it's happening now. It's happening now on this spot. So it's not something that goes away. I don't think. But in over time, it just gets more and more easy to interpret what your clients or your collaborators want. So I hope that's a good answer. Um, and if not, I'm really sorry, but it's not like there's like a like the 10,000 hour thing, and it's like, oh, this is so easy now. It's never going to be easy. You're dealing with human beings and a very subjective nature of work. So, anything else? What else, guys? Nobody saw the Odyssey. How do you approach contrast? I feel like I just answered this. How do you know when it's too contrasty or too low contrast? Do you find the sweet spot? Yeah, well, you just know. I mean, too much contrast looks like shit, and too low, and it looks like you didn't do anything. Like for a while, that log look was pretty popular. I'm going back to like the earlier Vimeo days, but um, I think you start to feel it. I think it's you have to honor the photography as it's come in. So a DP has made choices. They've used lighting instruments and flags and all this kind of stuff to get a contrast level that they are happy with on the day. So for you to just go in and just start screwing with that, I think that's disrespectful to the photography that's come in. You have to respect that because that's what everybody liked on set. You can't just go in there and go, I don't like this. Crank a knob up and make it look like Man on Fire or something, or those weird like dial up. There's like the phone call scenes in Man on Fire where like the contrast is just turned to 11. But you'll start to feel it. You'll start to feel like what feels good. If you're earlier in your career and you're getting material that's not shot very controlled, then it might be all over the place. And then it's your job to balance all that out and be a good collaborator. But it is something that you start to feel. I don't know any other way to really say it. I mean, it's also up to what your DP wants. Like they may have shot it and it's a little bit more contrasted than they want. Get into the suite, you can lower that contrast or affect where that contrast is hitting with the pivot. Um, so it's really up to. It's like all of this it's a team sport. It's all a team sport. Like you're not the arbiter of. You're not the final say rather in like the image. So don't get any like. Don't do yourself the disservice of getting an ego about this. It's a team sport from start to finish. Carl, yeah, it helps a lot. My confidence ebbs and flows. Dude, same. You're a human being, just like me. I've got to go now, Matt. All right, later, man. Thanks for a great spot. Really worth my time. Hopefully catch you next time. Hell yeah. Thanks for swinging by. It's good to have you in here. That's awesome. And I'll see you next time. 2 weeks. Remember, it's 2 weeks. Didn't you feel like the contrast was too strong in the last season of Euphoria? I didn't see the last season. I didn't see the most recent one. So I don't really know. Gosh, I'm I feel like I'm a giant disappointment to you. I've just said I don't know to all of your questions. I didn't see that season, but they made the choices that they made for a good reason, and that show definitely had a budget. So, and the colorist is very good. So I don't think I'm to say. Also, you got to understand and recognize that the bit rate is like tiny. The streaming bit rate is so small. So what you're seeing is not what they saw in the color suite. I don't care what you're watching it on. It's not even close. If you look at a Blu-ray and the streaming version of the same TV show or same movie, it would be night and day quality difference. You'd see so much more softer gradations in between tones and stuff. And you probably haven't looked at a Blu-ray in quite a while. I'm just saying. Fire one of those in there and look how good those goddamn images look. Thank you for laughing at that joke of my disappointing joke. ColorCon 9. Eugene, would you consider becoming a cinematographer again? Fuck no. Absolutely not. The shame is I love it. That's the painful part. The problem is it requires entirely too much time. I would be effectively starting over from zero right now. The industry is in such an amazing amount of flux. Um, I wouldn't even know where to fucking begin, dude. Like, where do you even start? Um, yeah, it's just no way, dude. Like the amount of time I was away from home. I mean, it was 2/3 of the year, you know, and I certainly could not commit to that. I mean, I have two dogs, I have a wife, I have stuff and things. I have nephews now. There is no way. I really wanted to. I really wanted to be a pro cinematographer. I got pretty close, or not a pro, but like shooting the stuff that I wanted to shoot, like like TV shows and shit. I got close. That's like the story of my entire career. Is like almost. That's my entire career with everything, even with the color stuff. It's like almost. I'm almost where I want to be. Good question, ColorCon. How often do you give your eyes a rest while grading? Probably not enough. But like every 20 minutes, I try and just go look at something else. And it helps having dogs because then it gets you outside. But yeah, your eyeballs will absolutely start lying to you for sure. So yeah, give them a rest. Like, even if you just close them and just look down, like just black everything out. But there's a lot of times where I'll be fighting a shot and it's like it's just not working or it's looking like shit or whatever. And I'll just leave the room, go get my dog's lunch or something like that, come back and it's like I know exactly what to do. All I had to do was this. I was getting mired in my own nonsense and my eyeballs were lying and I was believing them like an idiot. So I needed to come in here or get away from it, come back, and now I can dial this in. So, all right, 210. I went a little bit over, but I went over last time. So I guess this isn't the worst thing in the world. But this was fun. Thank you guys. Thanks for swinging in here. Thank you for your questions. Last one, ColorCon. How many hours a day do you spend grading? Shit, this week, dude, between 12 and 14. 12 and 14 hours. That's kind of, I have so much in this week for whatever reason. But this is kind of an outlier. I'm not typically working 14 hours a day. It's just so many projects came in all at the same time. And when you do that, man, I just say yes. Like, I'll just stay up. I'll work weekends, whatever. Uh, you know, if deadlines really need to be hit and I've negotiated an appropriate rate for weekend work and that kind of thing, then yeah, I'll absolutely work a weekend. But yeah, usually it's like, I don't know, probably 6, 7, somewhere around there. Actually, grading is probably like, I don't know, maybe 5. I mean, it really depends. Because like there's other stuff, right? Like you're doing the exports and you're doing like your QC and like your quality checks and emailing clients and taking phone calls and all that crap. So, but yeah, that's I don't know. I guess it's a ballpark. So, all right, guys. I think that's gonna do it for me. I think I've blabbered long enough. Thank you so much for swinging by, and I will see you again in 2 weeks. 2 weeks every Thursday. Oh, you can leave a comment in like either the posts that I make about these live streams or on like another video if 1 p.m. sucks. You guys seem like you're all over the planet, so I'm trying to find a time that works. I've already been asked to push it by 1 hour, so maybe I'll do that. But thanks so much, guys. I will see you in 2 weeks.